this is Hernando, and this is the third episode of the Creek DAYLO podcast. We currently at Creek are reading The Sum of Us by Heather McGhee, and that's going to be the topic of discussion for today.
To jump us off, one of the first topics mentioned in the book is the zero-sum policy, which in a basic is that giving someone something is taking something away from you, regardless of what it is. And it talks about how there was a lot of white people scared of loss if black people had gains. And so that was what the zero sum was. It was not me, not my problem.
I think that is absolutely, sadly, very much what our country has been based on from the very beginning. This idea that if I don't keep it for myself, and that when I say that, if I don't keep that for myself, you could be talking about money, you could be talking about status, you could be talking about perceived advantages that you have. If I don't keep it for myself, somebody else is going to take it, and then they're therefore going to, my status or my finances or my power will be lessened by giving it to someone else or by sharing it with someone else. And I do believe that, and I think that what this book shows us is that we have a history of doing this, and it has done nothing but harm us as society. It's not just harming the people that are targeted. It's not just harming minorities and people who traditionally have not had the power, but it's hurting all of us. And that, in a nutshell, is pretty much what this book is about. Is it outlines all the different ways that we have used this idea of the zero-sum model to hurt ourselves as a nation.
Do you think that we can ever exist in a world without that concept successfully?
I'm 100% do. I think that if we could somehow find a jumping off point to change, that we absolutely could just survive as people did for millions of years. We could survive just by sharing our resources and helping each other and taking care of each other. I just feel like it would be the easiest thing in the world. And obviously that probably sounds incredibly naive, but when you think about it, that's all it would take, is to just all of us collectively to make the decision that we're going to just all take care of each other and make sure that nobody falls through the cracks and make sure that nobody is harmed.
Yeah, in that sense, like how taking care of each other and kind of like trying to create that equality for everyone and not just like create equality for one group or the other. In the book, they talked about the draining of the pools, which is a topic that like a lot of people don't know about. I really didn't know about it before reading about it. But they made the pools equal, and instead of following through with that, they automatically like drained the pools and filled them with mud instead of like letting people swim together. Some of the largest pools and like most notable pools were drained and filled with mud. Pools were economic. It was like a place for everyone to be. Well, everyone in quotations, because a lot of it was just white families. Majority of it was white families. So it was economic success, but it then became like a place where people could hate on other people. And I think that, pools are so historical because of that. And a lot of that might have been like where the first integrations were. I'm not sure, if I'm going to be honest, but like a lot of the first integrations could have been through a pool where people are meeting like people of color for the first time, and putting that effort in to go through and like see, wow, these people really aren't different than me. They just wanted to swim.
Did we mention that this book is mostly about racism?
Yeah.
Okay, we did. Because I feel like the zero-sum concept, I feel like can be applied to any majority versus a minority. But this book specifically talks about how racism is bad for everybody and not just for the victim of that hate, which I think is really interesting. So this book talks about, like you were just saying, how we would all function better as a society if we just didn't hate one another and we shared materials and sources. It would be a dream come true.
Our nation was built on racism, and that is sadly one of the main points of this story is that this nation was built it was built on the backs of Native Americans and African Americans, but the people with the power from the beginning were the Eurocentric white people who already had in Europe, where they came from, been working on this idea that they were the greatest people on the planet. And so they brought that idea to America with them. And, you know, it's just so, you know, when you think about what happened when they came over here, where did they get this idea that they could come here and just treat the people that already lived here with so much disdain? Why did they have that idea in their head that they were entitled to do that? And it just kept going on from there. The same people thought that they were entitled to go over to Africa and kidnap people and force them to build our country for us. It's really difficult to wrap your brain around how this thinking started in the first place. But that's what it is. That's how people thought. That's how people continue to think. And that is what made America what it is. Yeah.
I think it's ironic how the same people who benefited from that process will turn around and call other people, like specifically minorities, entitled for just wanting the same rights or to be treated equally as them.
Exactly.
When their success is completely accredited from doing the exact opposite.
They feel they're entitled to behave the way they do. They think they're entitled to things that, and again, this book explores that also, explores all the systems that make a nation strong, that we feel, like Emily was saying, the swimming pools, the community swimming pools, that we feel only some people are entitled to. And you cannot build a strong nation sustainably with that idea, because you just end up, everything ends up in ruins.
As I'm reading the book, there's a good quote from page 69. It asks, what is racism without greed? Racism, it gives greedy people the moral permission to exploit others in ways they would never with people whom they empathized. And I think that quote itself really explains what you guys were just talking about, how racism is really just greed disguised.
Yeah, greed is such a huge factor in any kind of situation, economically, socially. It's a lot of what am I gaining out of this? It's more transactional than it is social. A lot of posters that were made in the 1920s during the Roaring 20s, or the 1950s. I don't remember what was going on then. I think that was like after the First World War, going into the Second
Civil
World War.
rights movement.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. There's a lot of greed posters that were put around. In the Roaring Twenties, a lot of it was like, there was a lot of like greed posters, like getting people to join the military. That's always been a thing. Like, join the military. It's not like you're joining the military because you want to. And I mean, there was a lot of people who did that. But a lot of it was like, join the military, support your country, like don't let down your country as a man to join the military. And that's so greedy. Like, you're letting down your country because you decided that you didn't want to sacrifice your life for your country. And the thought of that is so transactional. Like, I'm giving you my life and I'm serving this country. And it's just kind of odd to see because it's a lot of that everywhere. And like when people are being hateful, the transaction from that is the group that they don't like quiets down. They start suppressing, and it takes a lot to like push down your views. And it's so interesting how people will like genuinely just be that kind of like greedy person. Like, hey, this is my opinion. I'm going to take everything from you and there's nothing you can do about it.
So like my next question would be like if racism is not to be exploitive, if it's not transactional like you were saying, what is the benefit of it being societal for people who are racist or for people who are unconsciously racist? Like, what benefit do you get in your society from being a racist if not only just like you said being transactional? I can't wrap my head around it.
You lose a lot of things. Like, a lot of people, when I say transactional, it's not like a beneficial transaction. It's a loss. And like, you're being racist against someone, like say that there's an office and they don't have enough hires. They're short-staffed. But they're racist. So they won't hire people of color. They'll only hire white men. You're losing the benefit of having enough employees to have that kind of money. Like, more employees, for the most part, would mean gaining more money because you have more people to work, which means that you can do more things. And like, being against having specific people work, even if they're readily available and just as qualified, is so silly. And that's why they created DEI, because like they went through the whole opera study and like they were only hiring white men because that was kind of the bias. And when they did the curtain, they started hiring a whole bunch of different kind of people. And they were just as qualified, which is what DEI did. They made sure that people who were just as qualified or more qualified were able to get hired, no matter what their ethnic background was, whether they were a girl or a boy, whatever. Like, it didn't matter what religion or who they were. It was just their qualifications and what they were able to do. And so when you take that away, the transaction becomes like a lose-lose. And there are some good transactions, not within racism, but like in society.
Just to clarify, not within racism.
In society, there's like a lot of good transactions. But like, you know, when the bad is so bad, it can outweigh the good no matter how much good there is. So from the root, if it's automatic hatred and racism and going against everybody but yourself, you're like you're setting yourself up for failure. You're not going to get anywhere with being hateful. Kindness takes you so many places. Just smiling at somebody can take you somewhere. But like, not being nice and just being mean and hateful consistently takes you nowhere. And a lot of that is described in the book, how like everybody being racist and hateful is taking the society nowhere. We're not getting anywhere with this racism besides backwards. We're not gaining any economic success. We are losing. Like, we're in the losing race.
Yeah. And it talks about that a lot in the book. Ms Amsden, I think you're the only one out of the four of us who's actually read the whole book and probably gone back. Do you remember any like examples you can go back to and talk to us about, like where she just mentioned like a lose-lose for everybody?
I think healthcare is the big one. Healthcare and I think housing are the two big examples that she brings up near the beginning of the book. I want to go back to what Emily was saying. I think you were saying some very profound things there. This is so hard for us to imagine, I know, but I want you all to just think for a moment about the idea of competition and how ingrained in our society the idea of competition is. When we are in high school, when you're the age that you all are now, you have a lot of people telling you what you need to do in order to be successful, and telling you that it's a competitive world out there and that you're going to have to compete for the quote unquote good jobs, and you're going to have to compete for the money that is out there to make, so that you can have the things that you want to acquire whatever your version of the American dream is, or to acquire success. And I often think about this idea of competition. It ties back into what Emily was talking about greed. What if there was no competition? What if we had a society where everyone just worked together, filled whatever positions were available? Some jobs, all jobs had the same status, whether you worked out in a field or whether you worked in an office. People just did the jobs that were available. And there was no gain in having one particular job over another, that all jobs, because they all help our nation, because they all help people, if they all had the same kind of status, and we weren't all competing for this handful of jobs that were, felt to be the good jobs, or because usually it's because they pay more money. It just sometimes I want us to recognize, and I think that that's what this book helps us do. Recognize these parts of our society that are so ingrained in us that we really can't think any other way. In order for us to please, in order for you all to please your families and achieve the destiny that your families want for you. You have to, have that competitive spirit. It's what America was built on. You got to hustle, and you got to get your ducks in a row, and, beat the other guy out with your interview skills. And it's just that kind of thinking. If we could get past that kind of thinking, even in small ways, I just feel like that would be the key to kind of unlocking ourselves from this racist hierarchical thinking. The problem in that is, who's going to be the first to do it? Who's going to be the one who says, okay, I'm going to be the one who's going to, stop competing. I'm not going to worry about who's getting this job instead of me. How do you even begin to completely change how a nation goes forward?
I think that competition has always been very deeply rooted, even down to the Victorian times. I mean, there was plague doctors. Is that what they were called then?
Yes.
There was plague doctors, and there was field workers, and I mean, obviously, a lot of people prioritized the plague doctors over field workers, no matter who they were. So I think to unravel competitiveness in our society would be such a difficult process that a lot of people wouldn't be willing to stand for.
Right.
I'm not sure it's even about willingness anymore. I feel like it's part of our human nature to be because I assume with competition goes along with it is jealousy, because how else will you ever achieve anything if you're not being motivated to achieve that? And I feel like, healthy competition exists so we can progress as a society, but it becomes like Ms. Amsden, you were just discussing how competition, and for me, I've always felt like competition can sometimes be not motivating, because it kind of makes me feel like a failure sometimes when I'm not the best at things. But
That's right.
it's crazy.
And that's what happens, right? You have groups of people in our society who never win, aren't going to have a chance to win. It's a very unlevel playing field.
Yeah.
So,
and then it gets to the point where, that competition is inaccessible for so many people that what can it make them lead to do? Crime. They can't afford food. They're being told they don't make enough money to get food stamps, so I'm going to go steal this bread and this slice of cheese from the grocery store because it's all I have to feed my family.
Yeah, and it's the competition, how you mentioned, healthy competition. There is healthy competition, I think. There's a lot of competition that will, progress us forward. Even as, people, learning that going against somebody and losing is okay. And, learning that going against somebody and winning is okay, as long as you're gracious about it. And
can I talk about politics on this podcast?
Yeah.
Not to cut you off, but someone needs to tell Trump that.
Yeah, just kind of
it's okay to lose, buddy.
Yeah.
It's okay not to get the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, it's okay to lose, and it's also okay not to be the greatest player ever. If we're speaking in terms of, just general, it's okay to lose, and that's something that's not seen.
right. And it's okay to lose if you've got an even playing field.
Yeah.
It's not okay to lose when you're on a bicycle and the other person's in a car.
Yeah, or somebody's on foot and you're on a motorcycle.
Exactly.
It's crazy to think that the tortoise and the hare race that's been referenced so many times, slowest runner wins the race. That's not true. People will put that myth, or not myth, it's just a story. Mentality towards everything. If I go super slow and I don't push myself forward, you're not going to win the race. A lot of society is fast paced. You have to, as long as you're given the same opportunities, you have just an equal chance to win as the person next to you. But the problem is nobody's given an equal opportunity. Sitting here right now, I'm not going to be given you're not going to be given the same opportunities I've been given, Ms. Amsden, because I'm growing up in a different time frame than you did.
That's right.
Nobody is going to be given the same opportunities when we get old that we had. I don't think my kids are going to have the opportunity to come out and make their own podcast. I think that's probably going to be something that's going to seem as taboo. So it's just kind of crazy how as we're ever evolving, even then we're not ever evolving for everybody to have the same opportunity. We're ever evolving and people are still having different opportunities. It's weird.
It is. It is weird. That's a good way to put it, Em.
This book, as I'm reading it, is sometimes really hard to read because it discusses things there was this man who was so badly in college debt. He was, I don't know, maybe it wasn't college, but it was some debt that he got to the point where he was rationing his medical treatments because he couldn't afford them. That I had to pause when I was reading that. It gets so overwhelming talking about these things and just realizing that, people go through these types of things, and it's this system that we've set up as a society that's led to this. So reading it, I'm what can I do? What can I do? I just, reading it, just reading it. I was talking to a teacher who I won't name. She was telling me the best thing you can do to overcome this society, the system we built up, is to, one, be educated and to be kind to people.
Yeah, that's really the fundamental of it is,
Yeah.
As I said earlier, kindness gets you everywhere.
Yeah.
Hatred gets you nowhere unless you have people who will follow you, which is why we are where we are right
That's
now.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That is why we are where we are, is because hatred has been given a place to breed and to grow in our nation. One of the big things that the author talks about in the book is national health care. And, this idea, to me, this fundamental thing, taking care of our health in a nation where we have all of the latest developments and all of the scientific research at our disposal, and yet we cannot, we will not offer universal health care to all of our citizens. Why on earth would that be? Why? What? I just don't understand how such a basic need cannot be cared for by this nation that boasts that it's the greatest nation in the world. But we cannot, and it just starts with healthcare. We refuse to offer healthcare to our citizens. We refuse to offer affordable education to our citizens. We refuse to offer so many things that just seem necessary to the health and well-being of our citizens. But we won't do it. And why won't we do it? Because it's much more important for us to keep our hierarchy in place and to keep our racism in place.
Isn't that also like a current event? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the government shutdown was just because, the Republicans didn't want to give any money to healthcare. And I'm also really naive, and I haven't read any more, like, the bills on it. But isn't that, like, mostly what it was about? It was like they were going to triple the cost of healthcare. Republicans wanted to do that. The Democrats were like, no. That's why they couldn't sign it.
I think our political woes right now are deeply rooted in what this book talks about.
Yeah, and it is. And I'm reading this book, and I'm like, well, how recent is this book? Just to discover this book came out, like, 2019, 2021. So it's pretty recent.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like, come on, guys, we're in 2025. Can we all love each other?
Yeah.
But we can't, I guess.
You can, like, see now. The zero sum, like, honestly, right now in the state that we are in, where the government shut down because of one thing. Or not one thing, but the government shutdown, it hurt everybody.
Yeah.
Because a few people didn't want something to change what they had. They didn't want, like, a change in their America.
That's right.
Quote, unquote.
Dude, I live on base.
Me too.
There's so many people who are affected by this government shutdown, like DAYLO schools, for example. Yeah. All the kids in DAYLO school, after-school activities gone. For example, people who work for government services jobs, like I know probably 4 people on top of my head whose parents are without a job and they're on temporary leave, and now this administration is threatening not to pay them back immediately. Like when the furlough, when the government shutdown's over. I don't know. It's like it really affects people.
Yeah,
like because you guys couldn't come to an agreement.
It's frustrating. You can see, like, I went to a DAYLO school.
Me too.
And it's frustrating to see that, like, now those kids aren't going to have the opportunities that I had. I did a lot of extracurriculars at that school. The school here, where in South Carolina, on one of the bases, they had a lot of opportunities. They had photography class. I think that they took that class down because they lost some funding, not because of the government shutdown, but, like, you're losing opportunities for kids to have creativity. And in that, you're going to create adults who have no creativity and just see, and they do, which is such a horrific idea. Like, nobody's going to have a differing opinion. What happens then? Everybody's the same.
And I think sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it talks about that in the book. Libraries and schools. And that was like 1900s. This guy, he was racist, but he was noticing how racism was hurting his community, how in southern states there were a lot less libraries and sources for schools than in the northern states. I had a hard time saying that, northern states. And he was noticing how bad that was a problem. But it was like, these white people who I love because I'm racist, like my white people, they're not learning the same as these other white people because of the racism that's in my state.
Yeah, there was a lot. I'm about to look at it.
Yeah, Emily's looking for in her book.
The libraries, there was significantly less in the southern states, as she said, and a lot more in the northern states. There was also the whole thing with, like, jails were getting more funding than schools. Which,
yeah.
is an insane thought, because a lot of people, I mean, incarceration from the jump was supposed to be rehabilitation. That is, to be honest, that has never happened. It's not a rehabilitation, it's a punishment. You are confined somewhere for the crimes you have committed. Now, is that entirely bad? No, because there are some subjectively horrible people, like murderers, rapists, like all of those horrific crimes. They do need to be confined away. But you can't say that something is built for rehabilitation and then use it as a form of punishment for everyone. They mentioned in the book drug crimes, and like how there was significantly more African American people. I can't remember the years, but I know that it was before like 2010 or something, that were arrested for drug crimes with heavier sentences for crack cocaine, because they were, I don't know what the difference is, but they were doing a different thing than the powder. But there were white people who were doing the powder, and they got significantly less time.
Yeah.
There's no difference between the two. They do the same thing. So it's weird seeing, like, even in our punishments, there is a difference in the way that you're punishing people based on the way that they look. And like, as it develops, you know, you're going to punish people differently. You're going to give people different benefits.
Again, it's another example of the racist policies that our nation is built on. It's just another example. The war on drugs that started in the 80s, they poured so much money into what was just very openly a very, very racist scheme.
I mean, I can just think, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about the Black Lives Matters movement. George Floyd, and the multiple people in this book who are dying from racism or have actually died. Like, I think, Emily, you were talking about the draining of the pools, which I think is so interesting because, first of all, pools have been a societal, not societal, but it's been like a location for where many people can come together and hang out for thousands of years. I mean, I feel like in ancient Rome, that was a thing, I'm going to go to the pools.
The bathing pools.
The bathing pools.
Together.
That's a thing that people would do. Everyone would do it. And then you have people like this. I'm going to go in the book, maybe find his name, but there was this black boy and these white boys. They were friends. They
he died in the water.
Yeah, they couldn't swim in the pool because their friend was black. So they were like, let's go swim in the river. Guess who died from the river? The black kid.
One of the black kids. There was 4 of them. One of the black kids died in the river.
I'm trying to find his name.
But going past that, I think the point of this book is that, yes, racism obviously is going to hurt people of color, but we're way beyond that now. It's hurting everyone.
Yeah.
There are so few winners in our society anymore. We're all hurt by this way of thinking.
Yeah.
And majority of the winners, guess what they are? White old men.
That's right.
And
That's right.
It's not even like average people. Like, they were average people. They had a normal come up for the most part. A lot, and some of them are nepo babies. But like, for the most part, like what was his name? Jeff Bezos. Wasn't he he was just like an IT worker, and then like all of a sudden, boom.
I don't even know. I feel like racism now is just a tool people use for to keep the wealthy. Yeah. I was talking about earlier, that kid that died, his name was Tommy Cummings. It was 1953, and he drowned in the Baltimore's Patapsco River while swimming with his friends. And Ms Amsden, you were just saying how racism, not only does it affect the victims, but it also affects lots of people. I think it was it the rural Midwestern areas and hospitals? They didn't have hospitals.
Oh, yeah, they started losing hospitals.
Yeah.
Hospitals were shutting down because they declined Medicaid and Obamacare.
That's right.
This 2-year-old died because they couldn't get to the hospital in time.
Yeah. And there's so many, it's not even just, it's not just affecting. It's so sad because, from the start, it was really just affecting people of color. Now it's just affecting everybody, and nobody's seeing that it's affecting everybody.
Ms Amsden, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the housing section of the book, it was talking about Janice and Isaiah Tolman, how they signed a loan that was really bad for them, had a lot of interest, but that case where everybody was impacted, they were all majority of color. Until a couple years later, that those subprime loans were affecting everybody of color, a white, black, everybody. And that led to the 2008 financial crisis. This book is crazy. It has a lot of information in it. But isn't that kind of what happens?
It did very much. That's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. You begin preying on, again, greed. It was all greed related. It was all about banks realizing that there was this loophole and they could make double their money by increasing interest rates, and that they found a
Even if you had a
technically
good credit
legal way
score.
to do it. Oh yeah, it had nothing to do with
They
that.
had the like,
They could get you to sign on the bottom line.
Yeah,
Yep.
discount
the
fees.
discount fee, so your insurance rate or what was it? What is it called?
APR, interest
Yeah,
rates.
the interest rates.
Yeah.
You paid a discount fee.
That's
The
right.
discount was supposed to be a discount, not more money.
That's right. And they prey on people who just want things that
Other people have.
that we all should have.
Yeah.
Education for their children, a home, just very simple things that are unattainable to many people in our society, and those are the ones that they victimize with these kind of policies.
Is this still a thing, or have we fixed this? It's
What?
the lady who was giving Janice the loan. She was like
No.
it's like when you go buy a car, it's like the person makes commission on how many
Oh
loans
yes.
they
Yeah,
give
no,
you.
people
no.
still make
That's
commission.
that is
That's still-
absolutely
yeah,
not. We
people
have
are
not
still-
changed.
That is
anything.
insane.
It's-
What?
That's the whole field. That's why a lot of like schools now are teaching financial literacy. Like class of 2027, you have to go take an advanced personal
That's
finance.
right.
Even if you
That's right.
came in South Carolina, even if you came like late into the school, you still have to take it if you're graduating. And it's interesting to see like now people are teaching financial literacy, but then they didn't teach financial literacy because it was a benefit. They gained from it.
That's right.
And even when you're financially literate, there's a lot of people who are just sharks and they get you. They
That's right.
will slide right under your skin and you won't even see it.
Our own government does it. That's student loans.
take
In a
money.
nutshell, student loans.
my
They
gosh.
just, they take advantage. Oh,
Accumulate
you
over
want to go to
time.
college? You don't have the money? No problem.
They had
They call it part of your financial aid package.
Oh my gosh.
They had a statistic in here, in the book, about like how much money people would pay off insurance, and they paid over half, close to double of what they were paying.
Oh, yeah.
off rip. Like they would
Yeah.
pay, I think it was like 200,000. They were paying like 398,000.
Yeah.
That's almost
You said insurance, but I think you meant interest, right?
interest. Yes, that's what
right.
that's what I was trying to
Yeah,
say.
I know.
Yeah, but like the interest kills. And what even is interest? Why? Why is it
That's
there?
the money they put in their pocket.
It's like
Yes.
profit for giving you that
That's right.
loan.
That's the
Which makes considerable sense. Like I feel like you should make a profit from giving somebody a loan,
Not so much.
but not so much where like
And I
strips
work
opportunity.
within the real estate. Like, I mean, I'm not like a real estate attorney, but I do work with a lot of real estate attorneys, at least like 3 of them. And, man, they are expensive. Like, I mean, the people I work with, they are expensive. Minimum, you have to pay them $200, like
Exactly.
off jump. You know how many people cannot afford that?
Exactly.
And that's how they get you.
That's
You
right.
can't afford it.
That's
so,
right. So already the playing field
Yes, already
begins unevening
diminished.
and
Like
unevening.
everything is so expensive. Everything is too much, like to be equal. And a lot of that is put into the book. Like that's not just affecting people of color. That's affecting everybody. It is pushing everybody down.
Sure
like
is.
I work for them and I wouldn't even be able to afford their rates that they like costly an hour. If I can remember right off the top of my head, it's like $500 for an hour meeting.
Yep.
And to create documents that are consistent. They are the same for a lot of people. You don't have to do much changing to them. Still heavily expensive, like $390. You know, that's like somebody's grocery money.
That's right.
Not even. Like, you can't even... A lot of people don't even make that much to get groceries. Some people only have like $200, which is barely anything. That'll get you the bare necessities, which is crazy.
What was her name? Debbie. I think she took out a loan from Wells Fargo, and she ended up having her house taken from her.
That's
now
right.
she's in her 60s, living in a condo apartment building, making $24,000 a year, spending $10,000 a year for her apartment.
That's
It's
right.
like almost half your income.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like you lose money to make money, but at a certain point, you're just losing money. You're not even making any money.
That's
Even
right.
a home is an investment. Yes, you grow equity and you get money back for it if you sell it. But like, you don't sell that home, you're stuck with a loan with massive interest and a crazy amount of fees. And on top of like a mortgage and paying back those loans, you also have to like pay monthly water, gas, like what else is electricity.
That's one of the things that would have to change if we wanted to change our society and make it a more even playing field. We'd have to get rid of a lot of the ideas of what the American dream is. And that's a really hard thing for people. We all have this idea in our heads of what, as Americans, we're entitled to strive for. And a lot of those things are just completely unattainable for the majority of our citizens.
Would you call today a democracy?
I mean, technically, it certainly doesn't seem so, does it?
Emily,
I mean-
Hernando, what do you guys say?
By definition, maybe. But like reality wise, not really. Looking at it from the outside, like even looking at it from the outside, you can see that's not. And the American dream is such a weird concept because it's like freedom. Then you get to America and you got no freedom. Like you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what America was founded on. I mean, freedom. I mean, weren't they
Well,
coming to
no.
America from Europe
Yeah.
to escape prosecution of religion?
Yeah, but like even when they came here for the freedom, they didn't give freedom to other religions. They just gave freedom to theirs.
That's right.
So it's like
That's right.
you lose. You get like you see from the outside, like as if you're not in the country, you're not going to see everything that's going on inside the country. That's the basis. You're not there, you're not going to know. But like you get into the country and you're like, oh, this isn't what I hoped it was. Like that's like when you get a slice of pizza and you're in the South. You hope that it's really good, and then you take a bite and you're like, oh,
That's pizza's mid. It's Little Caesar's pizza.
so like you're like you. It's such a terrible metaphor, but like you're really not getting like you look at it, it looks delicious.
yeah.
You taste it, it's horrible. That's what it's like. Like you come down for the American dream and you have the hope of freedom and you have the hope of success. And that's what a lot of people immigrate to America for. It's the hope of freedom and the hope of success because they weren't able to find success where they came from. So like, and then they get here and they have the same problems except it's like 10 times worse. What?
That's right. No, it is. It's all based on fallacy.
It's fake.
I
It's
feel like
a
people
lie.
come here for different reasons than what you just said. I feel like a lot of people come here just for physical safety.
Right.
I'm sure they believe or hope for the American dream, but I'm sure a large majority of them are coming because they genuinely fear for their life.
That is
You're
true.
talking about like refugees.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think I don't know if like political, like obviously their danger is probably born from like political problems or like coups and whatnot. But I feel like becoming rich or a millionaire is realistically low down on their bucket list. I think having food on the table is most important.
Absolutely. Agreed.
I feel like I'm not disagreeing with what you said because I do agree with you, but it's so horrible. Last night there was a shooting on St. Helena Island. Did you guys hear about that?
The
Yeah.
bar
At the bar.
shooting.
The bar shot, 4 people died, 20 were injured.
Yeah,
Apparently it was a Battery Creek alumni meeting.
that's crazy.
I haven't fact checked it, but that's what my neighbor was telling me this morning.
yeah, I mean, you are the people you grow up. Like, you grow up around people who believe in, like, shooting other people is the only way. Like, there's a lot of people here, kids here, young kids who are like my age, who think that shooting and fighting and hurting other people is the only way you will get your point across, or you will make it known that you are not one to mess with. Yes, that is important. I'm not going to lie to you. It is important to know, like, hey, don't mess with me. I'm not okay with that. Stand up for yourself, but you don't got to kill and hurt other people to do it. Like, that's the crazy
Would you guys-
concept.
It's another example of the uneven playing field. It's
Yeah.
another example. Just another example. Everything goes back to that.
Like, these kids are handed a gun before they're handed a book. That's something crazy to think about. There are not so many kids in our school, but there are so many people our age who are handed a gun before they are handed a book. Before they are handed information and knowledge, they are handed a gun. Before they are taught how to use that gun, they are given the gun. Like, and I'm not saying that guns are horrible. They hurt people. They're not great tools. But in the metaphorical sense, gun is danger. Gun is hurt. Gun is hate. Like, that sounds so caveman, but, like, off of just basing it, a book, information, knowledge. Knowledge is power, people say. There are so many ignorant people who are in power. So is knowledge power? For the most part, yeah, because it gives you the ability to share your opinion and have statistics behind it, to learn other people's opinion and have statistics behind their opinion and why they believe that way. So when you hand someone a book, you're giving them the opportunity to learn. When you hand someone a gun, you're giving them the opportunity to hurt someone. Whether you're hurting someone with your words, and your words are bullets, or you're hurting somebody with real bullets, and you are killing someone because they don't believe the same as you do. You hit someone with a book, I mean, you'll give them a concussion, but you're not really going to hurt anybody with a book unless, it's a racist book, and even then, you don't have to pick up that book. You have the choice, and you have the choice to pick up a gun. A lot of people are going to choose the gun over a book. Hate over knowledge.
That's deep. But it is, though. It is. It's like, and I think, Ms Amsden, you're right. That is how did you describe it? It's another factor of the uneven playing ground or something?
Yes, it really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
Never sat on a stable chair. It's always lopsided.
Would you say that's due to, like, is that a string from poverty, or do you think, like, what do you think causes that malfunction?
I like I said, I think it comes from the very beginning. I think it's
Of racism?
Yeah, I think it is absolutely grounded in racism, which
Yeah.
is what our country is grounded in, sadly.
Country was founded off of hate. You really thought we were going to get anywhere?
Exactly.
Like, have we built a lot of wonderful things? Have we built the things that are letting us share this podcast out loud? Yeah. But, like, honestly, on the forefront, we really haven't developed much as a society since we started. Like, yeah, we have a lot more jobs, but, like, me talking to you probably wouldn't have been any different. I would have just talked to you and it would have been other topics. Now, everything that you don't believe in, taboo. Get rid of it. Like, that is such a crazy concept to think that other people will just be like, oh, I don't care. And then they'll move on. Like, you'll see schools are losing funding that their kids are going to, that they're so concerned about. And they're like, well, I'd rather be mean and hateful and racist and all this.
See, they don't even see themselves as being mean or racist or hateful. They just have, their priorities are not at a point that reflects kindness and love and peace. It reflects what they want, their greed. And I think I'm going through my phone because I've listed some really good quotes from this book. There's one on page 14 that says, public works research revealed that people have fuzzy ideas about the government, not understanding, for example, that highways, libraries, and public schools are in fact government. They don't really see that, these things that help and provide everybody with resources are government. which I think is something people need to remember.
Yeah, like if you want a good government, you have to advocate for it. You can't just say kill the government, because then you're just
That's
like
right.
kill the government, and then woo, you throw a little party, you're like, oh, I hate the government, and then you move on. That doesn't really do anything. Like because we said before, hating on something does nothing. So like really advocating for yourself is something that like so many people don't do. You don't advocate for yourself. You don't put I'm not saying put yourself first, but advocacy can be for anyone. Like you see a kid getting bullied, you're like, hey, that's not cool. I mean, obviously,
Hey,
don't
bro,
say it like that.
That's not cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, like if you're looking at it from the outside, if you're like, hey, like, you need to stop doing that, and you show people the effects of what it's doing,
Yeah.
you're gonna see someone stop bullying. Like,
Can we talk about feminism for a second?
Okay.
And I know, sorry.
Unfortunately, we're running out of
We're
time.
running out of
Is the
time,
only
okay.
is the only thing. So
There's
I
11 minutes left.
Yeah.
Maybe we should unfold feminism.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
not. But I guess, we can just talk about our opinion on the book, maybe?
sure.
Lasting opinions. Hernando, would you like to go first?
I'm not going to talk about the book, but I feel like y'all have made a lot of great points. Y'all have pointed out the plenty of ways in which racism is bad. And obviously that's a good thing because it can be very eye-opening, especially when trying to inform someone, going into specifics. But I feel like what people don't talk about is you guys talked about how racism is loss, like no matter what. And partially I disagree because obviously in reality, racists in the end will suffer from their beliefs. But I think there unfortunately is so much power, at least in our country, in being a white racist, white supremacist, whatever you want to call it. I think now more than ever, maybe not more than ever, because I mean we had the KKK, but currently there's so much, there's such a large community, and now with our current president, they're so empowered, coupled with social media. I think there's a insane community for people who hold these beliefs, and I think having a community that empowers you to do whatever you want is people underestimate how powerful that can really be. I mean, we see people going as far as physical violence, and I feel like after the civil rights movement and getting rid of the KKK and stuff like that, I think society believed we were kind of past that. But I feel like there's how do I say this? I think there's still a lot of violent rhetoric being spread, and I feel like at a certain point, something's gonna snap. And I mean, we've already seen some events happening. Obviously, the death of Charlie Kirk. I mean, Donald Trump was attempted to be assassinated, but yeah, I think the power you have in being a racist in the country is just as important in talking about the effects of racism itself.
Yeah.
I agree. That was a very important perspective to put in, that it is beneficial to some people. For my lasting thoughts about the book, I think that if you are looking to have more understanding and to gain empathy about what's going on around you and what has happened in your past, it is a wonderful resource. It gives a lot of great statistics, and it is very thorough within those statistics, with firsthand personal accounts. So I think that this book holds a lot of importance, and it's going to teach a lot. Is it banned?
Obviously not. It's in our hands right now.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure someplace.
It's Don't ban this book, because this book is actually really informational. They're probably going to do it anyways. But if it's not banned, if you can get your hands on it, this book is probably one of the soul books that I would recommend as a genuine learning. Like, you will learn a lot from just reading a couple pages, even if you only read through the second chapter and you're like, oh, this isn't for me, this is a lot of words. You're still going to learn about the pool immediately it was brought up. So I would pick up this book again if I had to.
Agreed. Agreed. It's a great resource.
Yeah. I'll try to make this short because I know we're running out of time. We've talked a lot. But The Sum of Us by Heather McGhee, How Racism Hurts Everyone. We're reading the book adapted for young readers. I know there's 2 versions, right? So I haven't read the adult version I've read the young version. It's a big print font, so it makes it kind of easier to read. And it is a lot of big words. Like there's words in here I don't know. I've circled them. But I could really, it's written in such a way that makes it emotional. And it makes it personal because in a lot of these situations you can put yourself in those shoes, the people's shoes, the way it's written. For example, just healthcare. I mean, people are dying because they can't reach the hospitals in time, so on and so forth. There's people who can't afford healthcare and whatnot and other things, and things are being taken from them, and it makes you consider what that would be like if you were in their shoes. So it's a great book if you want to kind of, spread your mind, open your mind, I guess is a good way to put it. It's a really good book. I would recommend it to anyone. And Ms. Amsden, what's your opinion?
Agreed. It's been a fantastic read, and I really appreciate that y'all are getting so much out of it because it really is a very good book.
It kind of makes me question a lot of things that I've learned.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to question things.
Well, on that note, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you in our next episode.
Bye.
Bye.